Hello and welcome to the 2020 Athletic Banquet. Looks a little bit different than it did in previous years, but I do want to make sure that I recognize all the girls for their hard work this year. As always, it's a privilege to be a coach here at Girard High School and have the parent support that I have each and every year. This has been a strange year, definitely as head coach, and a very, very busy one. It hasn't been a typical season. I'm able to put together a rotation that works pretty early in the season, and then we're able to perfect that as we go through the season. And with COVID-19 and with injuries, we just didn't have that luxury this year. But even with COVID-19 and the injuries, the weird injuries that we've had this year, we have definitely had some growth that I've seen with each and every girl, and we had quite the successful season. Could it have been more successful given the weird circumstances? If those were taken out, absolutely. But I am happy with how things ended up. So just kind of a recap of the past few years at Girard Volleyball. I took over last year, but the two previous years, the Girard Volleyball program was 17 and 20, 15 and 22. When I took back over, we then went 19 and 21, which is about 50% wins. And this year, even under the circumstances, we came out in the positives. We were 20 and 14 for the varsity. That includes the first place Chinook tournament win, which was an exciting one. And also we ended up being league co-champions with Colgan as well. So I'm very happy with how the program is advancing, and I expect next year is going to be the same. We're going to see growth each and every year as I become more involved with the program year by year, and the girls know my expectations. So before we talk about each team individually, I just want to thank people that made this season so successful. Number one would be my husband, Scott, and my boys. Some nights I wouldn't get home until 8 o'clock from practice even, and watching film, and even with games, sometimes it would be 9:30 or 10. I didn't have to worry about cleaning house. I didn't have to worry about food. My husband took care of everything. Laundry, didn't have to do it during volleyball season. Kind of a bummer now I have to do it, but that's okay. He really stepped up to the plate and made our family make it through this hard season. My assistant coaches, Dana Crane and Shelby Smith, we couldn't have been as successful without them. Many times when I have to focus on getting the varsity team together, those two ladies, they take the younger girls and they're working on fundamentals. They're making sure I'm taken care of as a head coach. They keep stats for me. But most of all, they're my biggest supporters every single day because they're there with the girls. Booster Club and Girard Sports Live, man, usually we only get 3 games that they're able to come and broadcast for us, and it was, I believe, almost every single game that they were there. BJ Harris and Dale Shireman that did a tremendous job. They were again big supporters of our program. Mr. Curran, thank you for putting together our schedule every year, getting referees, getting line judges, Mr. Ferguson and Mr. Schwartz, as always. The janitors especially for cleaning up. I'm able to just kind of head out right after the games, and they take care of cleaning up everything. The parents, I want to thank you especially. Your girls are very important to me as a head coach and to our program. You raise some amazing girls, and honestly, parents, you're a lot of my lifeline this year as well. I know that if I need anything done, I can call any one of you, and that's greatly appreciated to make this program as successful as it was this year. So I just want to touch base and talk about each team individually and what their successes was. So we'll start with the C team, coached by Shelby Smith. They had a 5-4 record. They didn't get to play a lot of games. Unfortunately, they got quarantined right in the middle of their season, so they were about 2 weeks where they weren't able to play, and with other C teams canceling as well. I was happy to get at least 9 games in there. They are a small team, but they got lots of playing time. They made progress. At the beginning of the year, some of them weren't able to serve as well as they were or pass, and just the fast pace of working through a high school program. These girls stepped up, and they're going to be ready to move on to JV next year. So good job with Hannah Bailey, Bailey Bradshaw, Marin Tershner, Brianna Clugston, Jaden Finley, and Kaylee Powell. Okay, the junior varsity was coached by Dana Crane this year. They had a great, successful season. They're 17-8. They're a little bit vertically challenged, but what I think is so important to realize about that 17-8 record, that's a really good winning record, and most of these girls were freshmen, so they have never seen the fast-pacedness of this type of game, but that gives me great hopes for the next few seasons, having these freshmen step up and be able to come in and be victorious like that. 17-8 is an awesome job when you're competing against lots of sophomores and juniors, when maybe necessarily if we had more sophomores and juniors in our program, that wouldn't have been an opportunity for them. But I think in the long run, I think that's going to help our season. So great job with Savannah Titchener, Ainsley Norton, Riley Brooks, Peyton Brooks, Claire Stevens, Bailey Bradshaw, Hayden Buckley, and Kinley Tucker. Okay, and so the varsity team, like I said previously, we had a 20-14 record. They were first in the league, co-champions with Colgan. They were first at the Erie tournament. And this is a very, very competitive team. We could have been more competitive if we were healthy, if we didn't have the injuries. It just seemed like with this year, we couldn't win. It was like every time we were about to play a game, someone got quarantined from the rotation or someone would get an injury. And so that was a struggle. It's not as easy as some might think, where if one person gets injured, you can just put the next available person in there. It's all trying to mesh girls together. It's all trying to create the exact rotation that's going to be successful against certain teams and teams that may be more of a hitting team or maybe more of a defensive team. But even though we had these different adversities, I think the girls learned that, it's just volleyball. Get in there, play your hardest. It's the best that we can do. And, great things are going to come in the future for these girls because of that. Some of them were put in situations where previous years that they wouldn't have had that opportunity. Putting a freshman in that varsity situation, it's a whole different ballgame. But even the younger girls stepped up for me. They saw what they need to work on. They saw, what it's going to take to get in there and be successful. And the good thing about this team is, we are only losing one senior. So even though that senior was a very big role for our team, being the libero, that's another year where the same girls are going in there, the same girls are getting to play together. The more comfortable they get with each other, the more comfortable they get in their rotations, the more success they're going to see. So there's positive things that are going to happen because of the situation that we were in this year. So the varsity was mostly consisted of Michaela Osmus, Madeline Knopp, Bailey Troike, Sarah Goebel, Olivia Cullen, Caitlin Kelso, Katie Pouch, Emmeline Syndicate, Kinley Smith, Leah McGowan, and Claire Stevens and Hayden Buckley. So I just want to talk a little bit about our one senior that we had this year, Michaela Osmus. Michaela was our libero this year, and the libero, she's the one that we try to put in that middle position so that she's digging up the most balls, she's able to take the most tips, and she just did an amazing job for us. She's going to be a really hard role to fill next year. But with so many freshmen, that and their competitiveness, I don't think Michaela will be missed, but I don't think we'll have too big of a struggle finding someone to fill that important role. With my award winners, all the varsity are going to receive their award winners along with Savannah Titchener, who also made the sub-state team. So I have your letters. I'll get those to you, even though we don't have a formal ceremony this year. Some league honors that were given out this year. Michaela Osmus was honorable mention for the CNC All-League. Emmeline Syndicate, second team, CNC All-League, and Olivia Cullen was first team All-League as well. Those 3 girls also received some honors in the Eastern Kansas sport. They were all honorable mention in that team. So great job for even other coaches around the area to recognize their talents and hard work. And then the last, which I think most important, awards would be our team voted awards. These are not voted by any coaches. This is strictly what the teammates think, and they voted the JV and varsity. And I have the awards. I'll get them to you. Most improved this year was Bailey Troike. Miss Hustle Award would be Michaela Osmus, and the MVP for this year was Olivia Cullen. And so great job, girls. For your teammates to recognize your hard work, that's quite an accomplishment. I look forward to next year. I'm so excited to see their progress that they make. I think there's 9 girls this year that are playing off-season volleyball, which we've never had before. And I really think that next year is going to look way better than this year. And again, each year that I'm able to coach these great girls is another year where we're going to see progress. So thank you, parents. Thank you, everyone that supported Girard Volleyball. And I'll see you next season.